Well, today talking with me is one of my favorite people, and I'm not just saying that, but you are definitely one of my favorite people. His name is John Patti, and you all know him. And it's not John Patti, your dad, not senior, but John Patti. Are you a junior?
I am. Actually, I'm the fourth, believe it or not, JP4. So,
No.
yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me that story. Okay, so you're four. Go backwards. Tell me the whole thing.
So
Great?
dad would be three, and my grandfather is two, and great-grandfather is number one there. So, yeah, and while I didn't meet my great-grandfather, my grandfather, it was always a tricky thing in the family when everyone was together because you would say John and three or four people would turn around. So
yeah. And you know what, I was like, that was my question. Did you ever meet your no, just your great?
Just my grandfather, not even my great-grandfather. But I heard he was pretty great, if you will.
That's so funny. That's a funny way to start. Well, all right. Well, I'm glad to have you on the show. John and I have known each other for a long time. I think you were like probably one of the first 10, trop rock musicians. I didn't know anything about anything when I met everybody. And now as time has gone on, we've actually even shared Airbnbs together, slept under the same roof across the hall from each other. And I feel like you're kind of like my brother now.
Yeah. But we just don't kick and scream each other on car rides like the brothers and sisters do, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. I do, and my biggest fan happens to be your dad. I'm not kidding. He listens to my show all the time. I love it.
Well, that makes two of us because he's my biggest fan too. So I'm glad he's spreading the love a little bit, and he really does. He really does provide some great insight and great feedback, and it's always good to have someone like that on the other side to hear and let you know the good times and even the bad times. That's what you need,
Yeah, it is true. Like he'll say to me, "Hey, Renee, this was good. Maybe next time." Like, giving me his advice and his 2 cents. And I, for one, appreciate that. I mean, JD kind of used to do that for me, but of course, he doesn't do it anymore. But now I have John Patti Sr. who does it. So, okay, let's move on. Thank you right away. For keeping me on the air yet another month. Here, the month of November, John Patti's Calyp-Soul Christmas show will be my sponsor, as I said earlier. And John, I want to hear a little bit later here. I want to talk about the Calyp-Soul Christmas show. Right now, I want you to tell me about what you did all summer. Where have you been? What have you been doing?
Well, how much time do you have? It's been one of those, I could go week by week, but the long and short is I felt like I was on airplanes every couple days, and while that can be tiring, it can also bring a lot of excitement, and I love going all over the country because there's so many different spots around the country that are there to view and to enjoy, but then also they're putting on so many events that we get to take this style of music to so many various different styles of locations, from Seattle to Texas, California, of course, down to Florida and the Midwest. It's just all over. So it's always a thrill, even though there's a little travel involved. It's a thrill to get there and bring some of this music out. And I tell you, this year it was kind of tough. I started in May, and I had to go all the way down. I say had to, like it's a big problem, right? But down to the Caribbean. I mean, down to Isla Mujeres and Cancun, and then spent a week there, and then spent a week in Belize. And that kind of got me into that island flair to help spread that around the rest of the country. And then after that, I was just zigzagging all over, and so many fun events. It's hard to keep up, but I go back to my my Instagram page and then also to my phone roll to see what I actually did. Sometimes it's hard to catch up on that, right?
You do a great job at keeping everybody informed of where you are. Your social media is very clear. I always know. I'm like, look at him. He's traveling over here. And I remember last November, and this is true, Bob and I stayed at your place overnight because I had a job in Sarasota, and then I had another gig the next day. So you were kind enough to let us sleep over in your guest room, and we had this big chat, and we both were like, I don't know what this next year is going to bring. Well, I see what it brought you: plenty of work, plenty of traveling, and things. You have, and you're always amazing. Whoever you play with, like you're just amazing. You're getting ready to play with the Whelans, right?
I am. In fact, I believe kicking off tomorrow, I'm actually joining up on a ship with them going out of Miami on a big cruise that they're doing it's a 4-day cruise, which is probably just enough for our livers, given the crew and the demographic that's going to be on there. It's probably going to be a great time and a big party. No fun had at all, but we're going to be doing that, sailing out of Miami. And then I'm actually joining them for the 2-week run that they're doing starting it started a couple of days ago, Meeting in the Mines, which is just an absolute blast. They always put on such a fun show, but it was such a blast to kick off with them. And then did a few things kind of around Florida and the East Coast, and each of those are just it's so much fun. It's fun to be part of. It's a great energy. It's something a little bit different. And now we're kind of continuing off this cruise all the way through next week. And while I won't be at the Nico Moon show, it's going to be a real fun. I was so close. I didn't sell enough Girl Scout cookies to make that one. I know.
I tried. We were okay. So we'll tell the listener real quick. So you were like, I think I'm on it, and I was like, well, here, let me put a little bug into their manager's ear. Oh, and John Patti will bring. This is great. I think you have John Patti on there. And I'm emailing their manager saying something like, he'll bring the Sarasota crowd over. This is great. And then all of a sudden, wah, you couldn't see the Nico Moon show.
Unfortunately, they had to pare down the size of the band for it, and I unfortunately got the axe on that one. But that's not a bad thing. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be a good show, and I highly encourage anyone out there to see it because they're just such a great energy, and the combination with them and Nico, it's really remarkable.
Oh, so I know.
Check that out. Check that out.
I can't wait to see it myself. So, okay, so what's next for you? You got the cruise, then what do you got going on?
So I've got a thing that I've been part of for the last, about 13 years or so, and it's a really cool event called the Siesta Key Sandcastle, the Crystal Classic. Siesta Key Crystal Classic. It's an international sand sculpting competition. It happens right here on the beautiful white sand beaches of Siesta Key, and it really is remarkable to see these incredible sand artists create. There's always a theme to each year. And so the artists create these huge sandcastles out of it. And as part of that, they have food vendors, they have all kinds of crafts and different vendors selling stuff there. They also have a big music scene. So my band's been part of the music scene for the last 13 or so years, and it's the John Patti Project, which is the full band, and it's the killer players from right here in Sarasota, and we rock out the beach stage. We'll be there on Saturday, November 15th from 2 to 5. So it's not too early, it's not too late. It's a great spot right there on the beach.
And we can find all that information on your socials, your website. Where's the best place to find where you're going to be?
Website for sure, johnpatti.com. And then I also put a bunch of updates up on Instagram and Facebook just to kind of, more people are on the social media pages these days, so it's easier to share. So definitely check out clips and stuff if you go to @JohnPattiMusic on Instagram or Facebook. That's the best way to follow it.
That's crazy. Like, you are so busy, and it's not like you play the accordion, so everybody needs you.
It's so funny. So funny that you said that because my mom wanted me to play the accordion growing up because we come from a big Italian family, so she wanted me to play accordion. I'm like, I don't know if that's going to be as cool with the girls as you think it might be. So I went with drums and steel drums instead, and that turned out to be a much better decision, at least in my eyes.
I think so too. I mean, I think you're doing okay. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us, this is the real reason, not the real reason, but one of the reasons. I'm so grateful that you sponsored me this month. And I think it was your dad who put the little note in your ear, hey, you should have Renee sponsor your show, your Christmas show. Let's talk about this Christmas show. Last year, I couldn't make it. We're going to see what we can do this year, but let's talk about John Patti's Calyp-Soul Christmas show. Where is it? When is it? Give me all the info.
Absolutely. Well, it's happening on December 17th. There's 2 shows this year, December 17th and December 18th, both in the Florida area in the West Coast. Sarasota on December 17th. At the Manatee Performing Arts Center. And then the next day is at the Gulf Theater at Military Heritage Museum, about an hour south down in Punta Gorda. And they're both remarkable theaters to see this in. And this is kind of a whole different light than most people see me around the country in different parts of my shows. While I'm usually joining up with other bands and festivals and whatnot, this is more of a theater-style show that brings my Christmas album to light by way of a 7-piece band and special guest artists. And I kind of take an approach, if you guys are familiar with a jazz trumpet player named Chris Bodie. I take his approach where it's, very, very classy, very nice. You bring in guest artists, you feature them, you go in and out of the band. So it's a wide variety of style of music and show, very different than what most see me in throughout the rest of the year, which makes it so unique. And of course, it brings that Christmas holiday fun feeling, which at that point of the year, we've done at different times of the month, but at this point of the year, probably could use a break from all the craziness, and this is just a really fun way to escape and hear different versions of the Christmas classics. And I use a lot of the guys from the Sarasota region who are fantastic musicians. I'm so lucky to be able to have these guys on board. And then I bring in a bunch of different artists from around the country. This year, it's action-packed, really is. I've got a gentleman named Brian Bird, who's a phenomenal pedal steel player. Now, not in the country style, but more of kind of the Robert Randolph rock and roll and soul style of pedal steel. So that's going to bring the soul aspect to Calyp-Soul this year. And then I've got the great Donnie Brewer. He's going to be one of the featured artists and guitarist as well. So combining those two is going to be out of this world. And then I think it's going to be, I guess I should say it, because I was going to try to hold on to it for a little while, but it's just too good. It's just too good to do it. Yeah, Carrie Welling, who's been the guest artist the last 2 years, who was probably one of the best artists I've had. She's going to be in the area, so she's going to pop in and do a couple of songs as well. So if you can imagine a great band with Donnie Brewer, Carrie Welling, Brian Bird, and a few other artists that might be in the region too. So it's just going to be really fun. It's a great way to celebrate it, the season, and I think I'm trying to get it out there. I would love to take it out on the road more. But right now, it's kind of in the Florida zone, and would love to get more people down here to Florida.
Exactly. No. You have to come and visit Florida in the middle of December. It's not
perfect. It's
thing.
gorgeous. And the best beach in Florida, Siesta Key, is rated that. So you can tie in a beach day and a theater show in one day. It's great.
Yes, and get that Christmas trip that you've always wanted out of the way
That's
right
right
there. Because
we shovel white sand snow, not snow here. We the white sand is what we do. So.
Right. That's great. Well, I'm excited that Carrie is going to be there. She is just, in my eyes, so polished. And I tell her all the time, she just looks at me, shut up, Renee. And I'm like, nah, you're so polished. You're so good. And boy,
she's so versatile. She's really, really versatile and just such a clear, clean voice. And she can go from sassy to cabaret to really just poignant songs. It's really remarkable. So it's hard to say. She said, I'm going to be in the area again if you want me to do a couple songs. I was like, how am I supposed to say no to that? Come on.
Yeah, right.
So it's going to be really fun.
That's great.
And,
and
then
where
we got
can we get
Donnie Brewer. Donnie Brewer's got his sassiness too, of course,
I want to see what Donnie wears. Do you think he's going to wear the same hat, or does he have a Christmas hat?
I don't know. He sometimes surprises and dresses it up. So there's only one way to find out. But all I know is of those entertainers, I'm the only one that can't do a real hair flip. Donnie can do it, and Carrie can do it.
Well, just for that alone, I want to come and see. So,
Absolutely.
Where can we get tickets to this show? Where can we get tickets?
You can you can go to my website again, johnpatti.com, JohnPatti.com, and then I'll have links through that. It'll take you to the actual theater sites, but that's the one-stop shop to grab them there. Of course, social media pages will have them on links as well. So
when do they
start at johnpatti.com. They're actually on sale already. They've been selling for about 2 or 3 months now, and so they're moving through, but there's still some room, so make sure you come on down. And flights are reasonable as well. You can right into Sarasota Airport, and they're very reasonable flights, as well as Punta Gorda has a smaller airline for some of the Allegiant flights. So there's a couple different ways to come to get here.
And half
sense.
of the parent have know each other. So
That's right.
if once, and people do live in the Florida area. I know no one ever comes to Orlando. I don't understand. I think, every once in a while I'll get that call. But like if somebody said, hey, can you pick me up at the airport, or can I stay with you a couple days? I would say yes. I think there's so many different parent heads that are around that say, hey, pick me up at the airport. I'm coming in for John Patti's show. And let me stay with you or whatever. Everybody should, carpool it in or whatever it is for a holiday. It'd be so fun. So, okay, we're going to wrap it up in a little bit here. But before I go, I want to do the big three with you real quick. We have talked about it now. We thought we did it before, but I don't have proof that we did it before, so we're doing it again. It's the three questions. You're going to answer them, and the first one goes like this. Ready? Tell us something we don't know about you, John Patti. Something crazy from your past, or something you do daily, or something we just don't know. What is it?
Let's see. Well, something that's kind of a little interesting you probably didn't know is that I have been on NFL football fields, multiple football fields there, 50-yard line, center right there on multiple NFL games, because I was part of the Baltimore Ravens marching band growing up, and that was based out of Baltimore, which sounds kind of funny, but let me tell you, it's really cool to be in the middle of the football stadium with 60,000 fans going crazy, and it's a pretty cool thing. So I know people probably figured I was involved in music, but they may not have pinned me in an NFL marching group and marching band.
Well, I'm picturing you in one of those hats, the marching band hat that comes down to the forehead.
It might
And
be kind
March.
of maybe not my best look. I've kind of moved on from that look, but for a while it was, it worked to get you in and be part of it. But
So
that's
it
something
is
that
so.
most people probably didn't realize. Like you
It is
probably
so
always the
funny.
puka shell wearing steel drum guy. I'm like, yeah, but
I just
I
was
had to
gonna
do
go
the
there. I was gonna go
yeah.
there.
But
Oh,
you
John,
get
Patty
you
and
get
I
the
have a story.
classic marching band things from high school, but mine was cooler because it was at the NFL, so that's a little bit cooler.
That is cool. Let me I'm going to stray the story really quick. John and I have a story that every time that we're doing an event somewhere, for whatever reason, there's plenty of pictures of you out there, plenty of pictures of me, but there's always one that will pop up with you in that puka shell necklace when you're like
Uh huh.
17, that they
Yep.
promote you as a man today. And John Patty will be here, and there you are, 17. I had the most terrible picture, and I sent it to you this summer. The library system. It's like the back of my head and my hair flipping. And I do this whole tour with these kids. And I'm like, could they have gotten a worse picture of me? I mean, we laugh about why couldn't they find just one good one?
I'm telling you, it's funny. I just did an event just last about 2 weeks ago out in Tucson, Arizona, and it was a Buffett tribute show, and it was with my buddy Mark Mulligan, and they pulled some pictures to do it. And I actually was impressed because I think you had to go work to find this obscure picture, but they found a picture of me for some reason in puka shell setting when I first moved to Florida back in 2008, 2009 with Jim
Right.
Morrison. I said, "How far back did you have to go to find this thing? I don't even recognize it."
They were
So,
really searching for your band, your marching band picture, but that's what they
probably,
could find. So yeah,
probably,
that's
yeah,
sweet.
that was
Okay.
it.
Okay.
I make
So,
sure those are taken down. I make sure those are hidden. It's
it's
well worth
tough.
the money.
Sometimes you have no idea. You're like, oh, that's where did they find? You don't know. You were young. My first headshots were so funny. I laughed. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, question 2 on your phone. What's the most used app?
Well, I hate to say Instagram because I think that's probably the one, but recently I've been doing this where I use this all the time. One of my buddies was telling me about it, and it's called Yuka. I don't know if you've ever heard of this before,
No.
but I use it for shopping. You can scan barcodes on your food items, and it lets you know how healthy or unhealthy they are. So things that you think are actually pretty good, you'd be surprised. And man, it has changed the way I've shopped for a lot of different food items. Now I will say,
Yuka.
yeah, Yuka, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, and so I've been using that a ton recently, and maybe not as much as social media, but besides that, it's probably a big one because that and Google Maps. I mean, I got to know where I'm going, right?
Yeah, me too. Yeah, but that's good information right there. Yuka, Yuka,
yeah.
gives you information on what you're scanning if you scan the barcode on the product. Wow, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Now, and look, fair warning, it could ruin your dreams because something you think has been so good and healthy is actually not. So, just fair warning, it could ruin your day, but it'll help you get better.
It's true. You don't want to put all the crap in your body if you don't have to, unless there's that one item that you just have to,
You'd be surprised the rating you get for Oreo cookies, actually.
Yes, we've had the same thing of Oreo cookies at our house, and my son is a big health nut. He just is like, no, that's unhealthy. One day I saw him putting the cookie in his mouth, and I was like, I thought that was unhealthy. He goes, I worked out, I did this, I did that, all these steps, I deserve this one. I'm like, I get it. So, all right, let me finish this up. My last question will be, in your opinion, who's the most famous person's phone number you have in your phone?
Well, it's turning out to be my dad more recently.
Yeah,
because everybody knows him, I'd say probably most famous in my phone book right now is Paul Overstreet.
Wow,
great, Grammy singer songwriter and whatnot, and so he's in there, and it's a pretty good one to have call. I always like when he texts or gives me a call because it usually means some pretty cool trips and fun work ahead.
Yeah, that's true. When you get a good one, you're like, oh, and then you get like my kids call. I'm like, yeah. Like, Julie, I'm busy. What if it's something cool?
Yeah, I mean that's actually second compared to your name. You're really top. Let's be honest. When you call, it's always a party.
No, it's not always. It's not always a party, but okay, maybe this time around. Okay,
yeah.
So I want to finish this up. Thank you so much, A, for being on my show. B, we're going to talk all month about your Calyp-Soul Christmas show. I'm going to, talk because you are my sponsor for the month of November, and I can't thank you enough. But before we finish, I want to play a song. I want to finish up this show with one of your songs. Which one should I use? And I want you to introduce it.
Sure. Well, I think this one here is I tried my hand at songwriting on the last album and found out how tricky and difficult it is. But it's a great way to get across your feelings of either what you're going through or where you live or something like that. And so for me, the next song is kind of reminds me of or was inspired by where I live here in Sarasota and Siesta Key. And going out to that beach can really recharge you. And sometimes you don't realize how good and special that is until you go through some dark stuff to bring you there through the other side. So that's the inspiration for this song, and it's called "Little Place I Go." And a neat little thing is I wrote it here along with John Frinzi, he was the co-writer, but the guitar line is actually me playing guitar on the intro of that song. So guitar and vocals and singing it, and there it is, best representation for me.
That is amazing. All right, well, I'm going to play it right now. Thank you once again. And here it is, Little Place I Go, from John Patti on Radio Trop Rock. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you, guys. Happy holidays. Hope to see you at a Calyp-Soul Christmas.
All right.